I watched my wife delete our wedding video with her own hands. Not by accident. Not because the file was corrupted. She erased it because another man was standing behind her during our vows, and she thought I'd never recover it. The second the footage came back from the recovery lab, I understood why she panicked when I mentioned our anniversary party. Why did she keep repeating the phrase, "Some memories are better left in the past," like she'd rehearsed it in a mirror? Because hidden in the background of the happiest day of my life was the same man she's secretly seeing now. I didn't confront her immediately. I spent 3 weeks collecting every frame, every lie, every missing memory she thought was gone forever. Then I invited her into the living room and pressed play. And halfway through the recovered footage, she stopped breathing. Our 5th anniversary was supposed to be simple. A few friends, wine, old photos. Our original wedding film was playing on the TV while everyone laughed at how young we looked. That video mattered to me more than anything we owned. My dad had filmed parts of it before he passed away 2 years later. His voice was all over the footage. Little jokes behind the camera. Stupid comments nobody else noticed except me. So when I opened our cloud drive and found the wedding folder empty, my stomach dropped instantly. I thought maybe I clicked the wrong folder. Then I checked the external hard drive where we kept backups. Cracked. Physically damaged. I remember walking into the kitchen, holding it like a crime scene object, while my wife, Rachel, casually scrolled through her phone. "The drive's broken," I said. She barely looked up. "That sucks." That was the first moment something felt deeply wrong. Not sadness. Not panic. Nothing. Just calm. Too calm. I asked if she had moved the file somewhere else. She shrugged. Maybe they got corrupted. Corrupted. The way she said it sounded prepared. Clean. Immediate. Like she'd already practiced the answer before I even asked the question. Then she stood up, kissed my cheek, and said something I still can't forget. Maybe it's better not to obsess over old memories. Old memories. She walked upstairs after that while I sat there staring at the broken hard drive, realizing my wife sounded less upset about losing our wedding video than I was about losing an old tax document. And later that night, when she thought I was asleep, I heard her making a phone call downstairs. One sentence cut through the silence. "He noticed." I didn't confront her after the phone call. I should have, but something in me needed proof first. The next morning, I took the damaged drive to a professional recovery lab across town during my lunch break. I told Rachel I had meetings all afternoon. The technician looked at the drive for maybe 30 seconds before asking me a question that made my blood run cold. Did someone intentionally damage this? I laughed nervously and asked what he meant. He pointed near the USB connector. Pressure fracture. Somebody squeezed this hard. I felt sick immediately. Because the drive wasn't just broken. Someone broke it. On purpose. The recovery process took 11 days. 11 days of pretending everything was normal while Rachel acted increasingly strange around me. She started sleeping with her phone face down, taking calls outside, changing passwords we used to share openly. Every little thing alone could have been explained away. Together, it felt like watching cracks spread through glass. Then the lab finally called. "We recovered most of the files," the technician said. "But there's something else you should know." I drove there so fast that I barely remember the trip. The technician sat me down and explained that the files weren't lost in a hardware failure. They had been manually deleted first. Then the drive was damaged afterward. I just stared at him, because at that moment, I knew my wife hadn't accidentally lost our wedding memories. She tried to erase them. I took the recovered files home on a fresh drive and waited until Rachel left for dinner with her friends before opening the footage. At first, everything looked normal. The ceremony, the dancing. My dad is laughing behind the camera. Then, 23 minutes into the footage, during the vows, I noticed something weird. A man is standing near the back row. Tall, dark suit, watching Rachel instead of the ceremony. I paused the video. I didn't recognize him, and I knew every guest at that wedding. I replayed the scene 3 times. The camera shifted slightly, and for maybe half a second, Rachel looked directly at him. Not casually, intimately, like they shared a secret. That single look changed the entire feeling of the video. Suddenly, I wasn't watching a wedding anymore. I was watching evidence. I kept digging through the footage and started noticing him everywhere. at the reception, near the dance floor, outside during family photos. Always present, always close enough to Rachel to feel intentional, never close enough to draw attention. By midnight, I was sweating. By 2 a.m., I started cross-checking old social media photos. And that's when my chest tightened. Because 3 weeks earlier, Rachel had posted a photo at a rooftop bar with her coworkers. Blurred in the background behind her drink was the same man, same jawline, same posture, same watch. I zoomed in until the image turned grainy. And then I noticed Rachel's hand resting on his arm. The realization hit me so hard, I actually stood up from the couch. This wasn't some random wedding guest. This man had been orbiting our marriage from the very beginning. And suddenly every girl's night, every deleted text, every weird distance between us over the last year started connecting into something horrifying. But the worst part came the next morning, because Rachel saw the recovery receipt in my jacket pocket. And instead of asking why I recovered the footage, she asked me whether I had watched all of it yet. The second she asked that question, I knew she was terrified of something specific inside those videos. Not embarrassed, terrified. I played dumb and told her I only checked whether the files worked. She visibly relaxed. That reaction alone told me more than any confession could have. So I went deeper. I uploaded still frames from the wedding footage into an AI enhancement program online and cleaned up the background images. The clearer the man's face became, the worse my stomach felt. Because I recognized him. Not personally, professionally. His name was Daniel Mercer, Rachel's new marketing consultant at work. The guy she'd casually mentioned maybe 6 months earlier. The same guy she claimed she barely interacted with. Except now, I was staring at footage proving he attended our wedding 5 years ago. I started searching harder. LinkedIn, archive company photos, old tagged images. Then I found it. A college fundraiser photo from 7 years ago. Rachel and Daniel are standing together with their arms around each other, smiling like a couple. 7 years ago, 2 years before our wedding. That's when the timeline collapsed completely. Rachel didn't meet him recently. She never stopped knowing him. I went back through old folders on our shared computer after that and discovered entire years of deleted photos. Vacation albums missing random dates. Text backups erased. Folders renamed and hidden. It looked less like someone covering up an affair and more like someone rewriting history itself. Then I uncovered the detail that nearly broke me. Our honeymoon folder had been edited 4 months earlier. Specific beach photos were deleted. Only the ones where reflections in windows or mirrors could accidentally reveal another person standing nearby. My hands literally started shaking, because that meant she'd been maintaining this lie actively for years. Not one mistake. Not one bad decision. A long-term operation. That night, Rachel climbed into bed beside me and wrapped her arm around my chest like everything was normal. And for the first time in our marriage, I felt afraid of the person next to me, because I realized I had no idea who she actually was. Then her phone buzzed on the nightstand. One message lit up the screen. Did he recover it? And her entire body froze. I pretended not to see the message. Rachel grabbed the phone too fast anyway. But the damage was done. At that point, I wasn't even investigating an affair anymore. I was investigating my entire marriage. I stopped sleeping normally after that. I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling while Rachel breathed beside me, wondering how many moments in our relationship were real. Did she love me at all? Was I the safe option? The stable guy she married while secretly keeping another life alive behind the scenes? The hardest part wasn't the cheating. It was the realization that she had tried to erase proof of our beginning together. That messed with me psychologically in ways I still can't fully explain. Deleting a wedding video isn't just deleting a file. It's deleting witnesses, deleting timelines, deleting evidence that reality happened the way you remember it. And suddenly I started noticing other missing pieces. Photos she claimed were lost. Old phones, she said, stopped working. Even framed pictures around the house quietly disappear over the years. I spent days reconstructing timelines like a detective inside my own home. And every trail led back to Daniel. Then I found the final piece. A hidden folder inside Rachel's old laptop backup. Hundreds of deleted screenshots were recovered automatically by Cloud Sync. conversations, photos, hotel confirmations. Some dated only months after our wedding. One message made me physically nauseous. Daniel wrote, "Watching you marry him almost killed me." And Rachel replied, "I had to, but it was always you." I couldn't breathe after reading that. I genuinely thought I might throw up, because suddenly the wedding footage became something much darker. I wasn't watching the happiest day of my life anymore. I was watching a woman marry me while emotionally committed to somebody else standing 10 feet away. That's why she deleted the video. Not because of one accidental appearance. Because the footage captured the truth she'd spent years trying to bury. And at that moment, I decided I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to rage. I was going to let the evidence speak for itself. So I prepared one final viewing. Just me, Rachel, and the recovered footage she thought was gone forever. What she didn't know was that I had edited every piece of evidence together into one timeline. And once I pressed play, there would be no way for her to escape it. I told Rachel I had a surprise planned for our anniversary. She smiled at me across the dinner table like she still believed the lie was alive. That almost hurt more than the affair itself. Later that night, I dimmed the living room lights and loaded the recovered wedding footage onto the TV. The moment she saw the title screen, all color drained from her face. "I thought those files were corrupted," she whispered. "I fixed them," I said. She sat down slowly. The video started normally. Guests arriving. Music. My dad is joking behind the camera. For a few minutes, Rachel actually relaxed. Then I played the enhanced footage. Frame by frame. The camera zoomed toward the back row. Toward Daniel. I watched Rachel's breathing change instantly. Then I paused the screen directly at the moment she looked at him during our vows. Not at me. At him. "You want to explain why your marketing consultant attended our wedding 5 years before you supposedly met him?" Silence. Pure silence. Then I pressed play again. Photo comparisons. Recovered messages. Deleted timelines. Hotel receipts. Every lie synchronized together in chronological order. Rachel started crying halfway through, but I kept the footage rolling. Not out of cruelty, because for years, she controlled the narrative. And for the first time, she couldn't delete anything. Then came a final clip. The honeymoon reflection photo she tried to erase. Daniel was standing in the glass door behind her. On our honeymoon, Rachel covered her mouth immediately. And that's when she finally broke. Not into denial, into confession. "He was supposed to leave," she whispered. I remember staring at her, trying to process those words. Supposed to leave, meaning he'd been there intentionally. The entire marriage suddenly felt poisoned from the inside out. Then she said the sentence that ended everything. "I never thought you'd see the full picture." And the terrifying part was, she meant that literally. I asked Rachel one question before I walked away. "How long were you planning to keep deleting pieces of our life?" She couldn't answer, because there is no clear explanation for slowly erasing a marriage while still living inside it. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. Daniel was married too, which created its own explosion once the evidence surfaced. Apparently, Rachel wasn't protecting one secret. She was protecting 2 collapsing lives at once. The recovered footage became part of the legal process eventually. Not because I wanted revenge, but because timelines mattered once financial disclosures started getting questioned. Funny how deleted memories suddenly become important when lawyers get involved. Rachel tried contacting me for months afterward. Long messages. Apologies. Claims that she still loved me in her own way. But love doesn't look like editing someone out of reality. And that's what finally gave me peace. Because I stopped mourning the woman I married once I understood she never truly existed the way I believed she did. The wedding video still sits on my desktop today. Recovered. Untouched. Complete. Not because I enjoy watching it, but because it reminds me that truth leaves traces behind, no matter how carefully someone tries to erase them. And sometimes the smallest background detail changes your entire life. People think betrayal begins with cheating. It doesn't. It begins the moment someone starts editing reality to protect a lie. Rachel thought deleting our wedding video would destroy the evidence. What she didn't understand is that the truth survives in fragments, in reflections, in hidden files, in the background frames nobody thinks to check. And ever since this happened, I look at every old memory differently now. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in the picture is the one standing beside you, smiling for the camera,